Association for Dialogue and Affirmation of Monotheism is presenting to you next video.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We have again our dear friend Refet, and he's going to share his astronomy passion, and also his passion. He will show us the telescopes which he have in his possession, yes, and also he will explain us their abilities, what can they see, which are the night days telescopes which can see the sun. Also, I think he can explain this. And what about this telescope which we stopped the last time?
Yeah, this one, what we have right now, is called Smith-Cassegrain telescope made by Celestron, 9¼ has a specific size for some specific reasons, and is very good on planets viewing, or for astrophotography as well. And the the pictures of the Saturn and the Jupiter actually are the one I took with this scope actually. And
So far off outer planets, they can be seen with this telescope.
yes, you can see it and you can take a picture as well. And it's very powerful actually. You put Barlow lenses, the double magnifying the power of it. And because for planets you need a lot of power, it's not like the deep sky objects, you don't need a lot of powers, but for planets you need a lot of powers. And it has a tracking as well, which is an LTAS, like as you see it. There's the two motor drives,
Yeah.
and it's all about, so far. But you can see deep sky objects as well, it's good for galaxies as well. But for deep skies, the best are actually, the one I presented before, the one I have it here in Macedonia, the 15-inch reflector. Because the reflectors are called reflector because they use primary mirror, and that mirror actually is the one gather the lights, then turn the lights to the secondary mirror, and then from there you take it into the eyepiece, you focus it, and that's how you see. And it's good for the.
This is helping scope.
That's as a finder scope. See what you do, you adjust the big scope with a finder scope.
Yeah.
You align those two. So sometimes when you need to look at the objects, if you cannot find it, with a go-to, you need to go left and right. After you adjust it to the big scope, first you go with that small scope because it has a wider field, and it's easy to find the objects in a wider field, and then you go closer to the, to the magnifying field, which is a lot narrow field.
So for calibration.
Is actually calibration is something else. You need to adjust this one has a mirror as well, and has like double mirrors, and it doubles the power actually. For example, the scope, the big huge scope, you saw the one I have here in Macedonia is like magnification is a lot weaker, but it gathers more light and you can see more in deep skies. This one, its magnification is a lot stronger. It doubles the magnification. Like the big scope I have here is f4.5. This one is f10, which is like a 2,300 millimeters focal length.
This is the strongest telescope you have, yeah?
Yes. Actually, I have even stronger than this one, but it is even smaller than this one. It's called Maksutov. Those are very strong.
Is this the one?
No, this is a more for photography. This is like only 550 millimeter focal length. See, focal lengths mean if you measure the telescope from the beginning of the lens all the way down to the eyepiece, that is called focal length, and that's how long it is with millimeter. This one, for example, is 400 with focal near reducer, 470 millimeters, 74, something like that. Without the reducer is like 550 millimeter. If you measure, from end to the beginning of the end to the end, actually that's how long it is. But the other scope, the Smith-Cassegrain, you're pointing the black one. If you go back, like the previous one.
Yeah,
you're
right.
displaying.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, for example, see this one, if you measure, the tube is not 2,300 millimeter, but the power it is, because what they did, the design, they doubled the design, reflecting back and forth, and actually has the power of, like the tube, it would be like 2.5 meters or 2 meters and some like I said, 2,300 millimeters. Not the tube, that's how long the tube should be actually. And the tube of the refractor are exactly how long they are. That's how the focal length is measured. But this one is a shorter tube, but has the power of a refractor, which would be
So tube is
200
from here, from here to here, yeah.
Yeah, from the beginning of the lens all the way down to the focusing part.
And what's
that should be
this
like
scope? This is the command.
Yeah, that's the go-to controller. See, with that one, the old days you had to line up the scope with 3 stars for adjusting. Like the scope, in order to know how to go to find the objects. Even these days, but these days are more modernized with the GPS and all that. But for a precise tracking or precise finding, actually, the tracking is more like balancing at the scope. But
Yeah.
for precisely tracking, finding the objects, you had to align with the 3 stars. Basically, that way the telescope knows what location exists on Earth.
Is
So you
this
coordinate
because
with 3 stars,
connected to astrolab, for example? The function of the astrolab?
No, actually, is what you do is like, it gives you an option. Like, let's say it says find Sirius, and you find the Sirius, and like you use the finder scope, as I mentioned before. You adjust it to line it up. You line it up with the eyepiece itself in the center of the eyepiece, and then you registered 1 star. Then it goes like it says, go to the 2nd star. So you need to know the stars. You need to know the name of the stars and the position of the stars yourself. And then you go to the 2nd star. Then you center again in the eyepiece, you register. Then you go to the 3rd star, you center, you register, and it's called the telescope being aligned, which means it's ready to go to find the objects. And then you have, 30,000 objects available to find actually after you do that. So that way the scope knows what it is. I know it, and then it knows exactly where to go to find it for you.
Which
For photography is a little different. These days, they modified it in easier way, I guess. The way I do it now with the newer mount I have over there, the one you showed before, that the red refractor. That one you pointed to the North Star, and you had to align the mount, the German vectorial mount is called. You have precisely to align it with the North Star. It takes some challenge, with the hands and eyes and all that. It's not like everything the computer does for you. You got to do it yourself. And after you aligned it, and then you go to the next process, and then it goes by itself, 60-degree, and it registers first. After you aligned it, you register all the stars on the north side, and then goes to 60-degree, and then it registers 500 stars and a 60-degree, and then it knows exactly where you go. But here in Macedonia, the scope I have for astrophotography is the older fashioned. So here I have to use actually same like this one. I have to line up with the 3 stars. Here is the light I use. When you take photography for deep sky objects, in order to get details of the gases and the galaxies and all that, you gotta take at least, to get good photos, at least 100 pictures of it's called light frames, which means the pictures of the objects. You take hundreds of them, and then the picture, and you take each single picture, it might have a dust. And in order to avoid that dust from your lens is showing in your picture, you need to take this light. So now with this light, you take another 30 pictures, just like putting a light on top of the telescope. And in the process, it will remove all the dust you showing from your lens. Then you have it's called dark frames. You take dark frames, you put the cover on top of the telescope, and then you also take dark frames, which means you take dark pictures. Same thing, that one kind of removes the noise of the picture. And then you take it's called another calibration frame, you take biases and another one, I forgot the term of it, but anyway. And after you take those, then you need to go to the program, you gotta stack it. Then you gotta go to another program, you gotta stretch it. Then you go to another program, which is Adobe Photoshop, and then you're gonna adjust, the lights, and you gotta give more modification over there too as well. And then you can, make one single picture of all of that. And that's how it is, it's not easy process, but I'm happy we do that because I don't want artificial intelligence to do everything for us. Then it would ruin.
Do you think it will be an obstacle?
What do you mean?
If artificial intelligence is going to finding stars, is this an obstacle to this technology? Or
no, it's not right now. I'm glad it's not actually. Even this camera, see that camera which you see in this scope in the back of it, the red one, it's called a dedicated camera for astrophotography. I used before, like a digital SLR, $100 a camera, and I still did a good picture actually, good job. But this one I had to spend $1,500 to buy just this camera, and
just
that
for the
one
camera,
actually,
not for the telescope, just for the
just for the camera itself. Yeah, it's very expensive hobby, very expensive.
yeah.
Sadly.
No.
But see, the thing what happened is even this camera cannot do everything for you. Like I said, you have to take all these calibration frames in order to get a good picture. Because I don't want to have any camera to do everything for you. Calibration and this and that and stacking and this. Then what are you going to do? Just talk to your scope and the scope do everything for you? It would be so boring, That's why I think it's a fun to have a challenge with it, It takes a lot of practice.
That's like a fisherman catching a fish if he doesn't have the joy to
Exactly.
if somebody else catch it. But on the other hand, in scientific improvements, for example, if artificial intelligence is using its scope, so you can better adjust the picture, adjust the place, so you want to get a good picture of some star or some object.
Galaxy,
I think it's useful. For example, to use it. Comets, for example, cannot be just tracked. You need movable tracking and this kind of system. Do you have some experience which you want to share with us? Which of the nebula stars you like the most to watch and which is good?
Yeah, for observing, actually, it is my favorite one. It's called M42. And Orion exists near to the Orion Nebula.
Yeah.
I mean, Orion constellation, sorry.
I will find
Orion
it
constellation,
now.
but it's called also Orion Nebula as well. And that one, I don't know if we have it on display.
NGC, just to find it.
But that one actually, it is available in the winter time. And it looks really nice, when it comes to right here.
Okay.
Actually,
this is
that's the
Orion.
one that pointed right by the hand. That is Orion Nebula. But here I took the wide field just to the camera lens.
Well, which is the real color? Is it red? Because
It is.
it's
It is a
red.
real color. Yep. Everything you see is a real color. Actually, that's another point of it. When you do photography, you need to try to stick with the real gaseous elements exist over there. Some of them are blue, some of them are red, some of them are brighter, and
This
like
is
this one,
the same heart
it's called a
nebula.
heart nebula.
Yeah.
It has the shape of the heart. And see, now to take this picture, you need the weaker power, you need a wider scope with a weaker power, like I said, like 447 millimeters.
So you are finding one star in here in the system, like when you choose to zoom in. How do you do it? Do you need more precise or just to adjust it with numbers and?
Yeah, actually, it's same as for viewing, like when it comes to the photography, like I said, you coordinate it to the North Star, and you coordinate it to that 60-degree to register the stars. And then it finds the object. When it finds the objects, then it needs to track it. And they need to have, really precise line to the North Star in order to track the object right. Because if it doesn't track right, you're gonna see lines on the stars. And that's another challenge too as well. Yeah, this is the Orion Nebula. By the way, this photo is a single shot, actually. It's not the one I take with the hundreds of them. And this one I took actually here in Macedonia from my balcony, from my house. And it's a just single shot, but I had to buy a camera, digital SLR camera, actually was designed, specifically for astrophotography, because they had to remove some filter in order to show more gases, and you can see the information over there, what is taken and the name of the object.
Everything Canon and everything which is
So
exposure.
that's like for a long time, I didn't know to take any better pictures. Like this one is actually with a same thing, digital SLR camera. Before I bought that dedicated ones, but here is the first step. I start learning to do the stacking, to do multi frames in order to have a better. We're talking here the same object as you saw the previous one, but because it took more pictures, you get more details.
Yeah,
And that's a part of it.
it's fabulous. It's so you
Again,
see.
sadly, human eye, even with the biggest scope on Earth, you're not going to see, human eye will not see these colors. So we know. That's why people, they can get spoiled in looking at the pictures, and when they go in the telescope, they get disappointed, like, oh,
Yeah,
it's not the same way. See these colors, you see blue nebula,
Yeah.
you see red nebula, is because the real gases exist over there, They're
so
all dark and all that. And from these nebulas, actually, the stars are formed. And some of the nebulas are called planetary nebula, which
That-
means those can form the solar system.
yes, like our solar system.
Now this one, the distance of this one is about between 1,300 and 1,400 light years away, which means
It's close to astronomical sense. Yeah,
and
it's
this is a single shot of the galaxy. It's called M13. That's how it looks when you take one single photo. And like I said, and then later on you have to process it in hundreds of the photos. And sometimes I just snap pictures, give some details for myself, like what did I use and how long the exposure was. See the
so we
exposure.
have something up. Can you explain this much more picture? So what's in
Yeah,
the
see that what you're showing over there by that hand sign, that is actually it's an auto guider camera with auto guiding scope. See, even the mount is not made perfect. There's no technology to make it perfect to track. So in order to track perfect, you have to have double telescopes. One scope to take a picture, another scope to take to view the sky and to tell the mount when the mount is making a mistake. To tell the mount, hey, now you're doing wrong. So you better get back on track. That's what those lines are for.
Corrector.
Like extension,
corrector.
declination. What's that?
Corrector.
Yeah, it's a mount corrector, actually correcting the mount's tracking. The mount is missing, and this one had to give the data to the mount and saying, you got it wrong. So you got to follow me. That's basically is leading the mount. The mount, because the mount cannot do the job itself enough. That's very interesting. Here is my favorite galaxy, which is about between 25 and 33 million light years away, which means
that's far.
if you have to travel 300 kilometers per second, on the moon will take you 1 second. On the sun will take you 8 minutes.
300,000, yeah.
And here will take you, between 25 to 30 million years to get here, which means we see the object how it was, like 25 or 30 million years ago.
In past.
Because it takes, not how long it took the light to get to us, which means we don't even know how they exist now. In order to see how they exist, you have to wait another 25 million years.
It looked like a seashell.
Yep, seashell, exactly. Yeah.
It's fabulous also, and this is
Now, these are two galaxies. Actually, you got like
Sagar.
so many galaxies here, like you got like at least 4 of them right now, easily to spot. But you see, you have more than 4. And the reason they look smaller from next to one another, because the smaller ones are farther actually.
Hmm.
That's why they look smaller, because using the same telescope, some of them look bigger, some of them smaller. Like if you take Andromeda with the same scope, it's huge. I have to use a weaker scope to get Andromeda because it's like the size of the moon, the field of view.
Do you have information how many stars and galaxies are daily found? So new galaxies.
I'm sure they every time they find something new. It's amazing, it's hard to
It's
it's
endless.
hard to talk about it. It's hard to keep up. I mean, it's amazing. First time Hubble telescope found out they call it a deep field, with a big dipper over there.
Mhm.
They just kept zooming and zooming and zooming and zooming until they saw like clusters of galaxies, and it's,
Uh-huh.
for example, like just Andromeda galaxy itself contains about 1 trillion stars. So basically, we have more stars on Earth than we have the pieces of sands and all beaches of the Earth. That's how
Wow.
many stars we have.
Wow.
And all the stars basically are fire. So I don't want people to start questioning how the hellfire can exist. Trust me, it does exist because all the stars are fire. Easily for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to make this, hellfire. And here, this is a comet, the comets are something like going around the sun, but they going, with the 70 years around, we see this one and we're going to see it in the 70 years. So I was lucky, to spot this comet as well.
This is
which-
Halley Comet?
No, it's not. No, it's a different comet.
Uh-huh.
You have information over there on top. Whatever they gave the name, they go 12P,
Because
whatever.
it's almost 75 years, I think, and I see 70
Yeah.
years. Yes.
That's the period of the travel they have usually. But I did not do good, I have to admit, I did not do good photography on this one because it's very hard to do it. You have to separate, they're going to process the comet from the stars, and they have to adjust stars itself, and then you have to adjust the comet itself, and then you have to bring it together and put it all together again. And it's very hard. But one thing I can speak on this picture, interesting to mention, is that you see some stars are yellow, some of them are white, some of them are blue.
Mm.
And do you know why is that?
It's gas.
No. It's
No?
the age of the star. The older stars are yellow. The newer stars are actually blue. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in
Yeah.
Quran, not even a star gonna live forever. The stars get reborn, depending on the size. Some of them becomes a black hole, some of them becomes, just a red dwarf,
There are, yeah.
dwarf, yeah. So
Some of black holes.
it presents
little
the
red
age
dwarf.
of the star, and our star actually is one of the kind which can be reborn, according to the science, and it starts over again. But in order to be reborn, actually,
Mhm.
it takes about 10 million years actually to go one cycle of being reborn. That's why NASA wants to find a place on Mars, which when the sun, is getting to the end, is the opposite. It's not shrinking, it's not fading out. The power actually is expanding the power. It becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, which means can, eat up the Earth. And which means Mars can be in a life zone for another 2 million years. And they're hoping, maybe to move the humans over there so they can use the Mars as a planet for 2 million years. But if Allah planned, then it will happen. If not, good luck.
So the
And we can plan,
distance
there's
of
nothing wrong with
Mars,
it.
seems that it will be not achieved by sun. So it will be like livable planet. NASA wants to say this.
Yeah, because as the sun expands, it will heat more and more, which
Yeah.
means the Earth is going to be burnt out, which
Yeah.
means Mars is farther than Earth,
Yeah.
which means it goes with a slow time, and that slow time can last like 2 million years. People can reuse Mars for living because we'll be in a life zone for that period of time as it goes before it explodes, and when it explodes, it restarts, reborns again, And then you can form the planets again from the leftover, whatever if it will, Allah knows best on that again.
Yes.
Now, this is another my favorite nebula.
I have this
honestly,
poster in my young age. This was fabulous nebula. Famous.
Yeah, I honestly myself, I never thought it will come a time I'll be able to photograph this one because it used to be very hard for astronomers to photograph this part. It used to be very fade, very dark and very, very hard to bring things together, the data's out. But now, with the better cameras, we can do a much better job. But still, I'm not that good in processing, honestly. I'm still learning. I believe I still can do a much better job than it is right now, actually.
But this
But
is
still,
very good picture and very nice also. So
And this one is the Pleiades, the one we see
Yeah.
that's called Seven Sisters. This is a lot of people can see that, and it's very easy to see it, spot it. But these nebulas are actually reflecting from the stars itself. It's called a reflecting nebula. And
Oh.
again, here you see like different.
It
size-
means that
different-
it is not it is borrowed light.
Actually, the gases are all around the sun. I mean, the stars itself.
Stars, yes.
And that's why we see those gases being reflected from the stars itself.
Luminescenting. Yeah, interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. So
And
we
then,
have also
Here is the single shot. That's how it looks when you take just only one single picture. And like I said, when you do the stacking and then how you get the details. And here, like an airplane was going through this object, actually. That line is actually made from airplane.
Right.
And then you
These
have,
gases, do they mix a lot?
what is that?
For example, the gases of planes and this kind of stuff, or tracking of planes, and do
You mean
they
does
make
room
problems
before?
like satellites and this kind of stuff?
Yes, yes. Actually, when I didn't know to use the program very well, I had a really hard time. I had to avoid all these pictures. The satellite going through, airplane going through. I had to search each one and find out which one has those glitches. I had to remove it. But now they have a program, and the program will remove it for you. So you don't have to lose the frame you got. And here is my picture, amazed me, actually. I never thought I'll be able to photograph this far. I thought only NASA can do these things. You're talking, 400, over 400 million light years away, a galaxy. Like you see, the one is called NGC 7336 on the center right.
Oh.
Oh.
So this is near quasars, near the end of this known universe, the first heaven which we spoke about. So this is the half bit.
It's very hard. It's very hard to give really a border where they are, actually, honestly, if they are in a second or not. But the reason I thought, like would be the first one, because all these galaxies contain stars, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, we decorated the first layer,
the nearest
one with the stars. But again, we have to speak with the question, because it can mean, like what human eye can see. Maybe it means just this how we see things.
Because
like,
many distortions are known in astrophysics, that there is distortions which cannot be not included. For example, the dark matter or dark energy, which they say.
Yeah, exactly. Like if the astronomers so far have seen, recorded, that is basically 13 billion light years away, the farthest they know. But after that they see dark energy, dark matter, and which I'm not very good on those details, but there are two different things as well itself, dark matter and dark energy. And this is the better process. And here is you see no stars on this one. When we do the process, we have a program in order to do not ruin the stars. When you're stretching the picture, you have a program, you remove the stars away, put them on the side, and then you stretch the nebula, you give the effects on the nebula, and then at the end of the process, you bring back the stars. That's why now it looks with no stars right here. It looks kind of strange to me. I like it more with the stars. Here is Andromeda, our neighbor galaxy,
Mhm.
the way I mentioned, has 1 trillion stars about. 1 trillion stars, this
So
galaxy.
trillion
This
days to find every star on it.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, no, somebody does it. Trust me. Science,
Um,
they work hard.
but
I do trust them.
with
They will
artificial
not
intelligence,
fantasize too much,
they can
They
find.
don't fantasize too much. And this is another one, and this is beautiful. On this one, when I didn't know how to process very well first time in the beginning, and I had a friend actually, he paid for his program $800. See that in the bottom, it says processed in Pixin site by Tanner Bobiner. Actually, he didn't even present his real name, he didn't want to publish his real name, so he just let me use some logo he has that as a name. But this one is similar. This one is in our galaxy,
Mhm.
and is a similar distance to the Orion Nebula we saw before, and it's called the Rosette Nebula. That's the name of it.
Yeah, so
But
fine.
he did huge difference in the processing for me. I took all the photos and the calibration frames and everything, but it just did the computer processing. But now they got some free programs actually. I'm going to learn, and they actually will do the similar job, like this guy did for me. This one I did it myself, all the processing. This one is actually similar distance to Andromeda Galaxy. It's not very far either. And I use this small scope, like to do that.
We will
Here's
leave.
the new moon. If you ever expose, you can see the.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Because we are ending this time for this session.
Okay.
We will leave special edition for Moon, and hopefully, inshallah, you will explain everything about the Moon, and
Okay.
special edition for Sun. So we need the solar system, the Sun, the Moon, the planets, any planet. If you're interested in to give your knowledge to us, for example, what have you seen on Jupiter, on Saturn, for example,
Mhm.
and there is also very well known objects there, which, for example, the Saturn ring and the planets, small planets, so we say it's satellites around Saturn, which are very interesting, like and also Jupiter, Io, Titan, which are almost recognized as a planet, yeah, with condition with life. Do you see Titan, for example? Have you seen it?
Yeah. No, actually, with the telescope, we just see
It's
like four
difficult because
major.
yeah.
Yeah, it's 4 major moons, but they look like a star. Honestly, you don't see much details. Europia is easy, and Io is easier to see. And
Mhm.
the rest of them, I don't even know the names, which one are available. I have to look at
But
some more information.
it's a waste space. It's a never ending space which you are observing, and we should also because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that we should gaze at the stars, we should look at the heaven above us and remember of the creator and the creation. So when we see the creation which is around us, so we will be amazed and all the time have greetings to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to be submitted to him, because whatever we see, it's something when people think about it, it's only when you cannot imagine. So you have uh, told us today about the tools, about the astronomy
Pretty
which
much.
you used. In short, I know that you have more time, but we will not, because our audience have some details, but this is something which is very interesting for
It's a
somebody
brief
who
touch,
wants
yeah.
to start
Yeah.
astronomy. And what's your advice, just starting out astronomy, to somebody who wants to start?
If you don't have a telescope, do not give up. Just go outside, lay down, and enjoy the sky. Just look at the stars, learn about constellations, like learn about the planets. For example, to know the difference, the planet and the star will twinkle, and the planet actually doesn't twinkle. It just stays because it's not giving light. It's actually receiving
Yeah.
light and just reflecting the light. And it's easy to spot which one is a planet, which one is not. And plus, the stars don't seem to move in our eyes, and the planets move. Some planets you see, some come and some go. But the stars, interesting part to say that stars are actually rise every 4 minutes early every night.
Yeah.
That's why the whole year around you see a different phase of the stars actually in the sky. But then it's nice to buy a telescope as well. Whoever can, like and to begin to buy the first scope, I would recommend reflector. The ones are actually the body is made cheap, but at least you can get more from the optics itself because it has a mirror, has 2 mirrors and eyepiece, but maybe it's made from the cardboard, maybe it's made from the wood, but at least you pay the money for the optics, what you can use the most. But if you try to buy, like a refractor, you need to be more in astrophotography. You need to be more like in a bigger budget, like to pay more. But still, you're not going to see a lot, actually. You're going to see some sharper details, but you're talking, like
May Allah
1,000
reward
to
you,
2,000 bucks.
brother Refet. We have finished this session, inshallah.